WNST, Towson, Baltimore, and Baltimore Positive. Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, Merry anything you're celebrating, holidays, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, maybe a Raven victory in Ohio before it's all over with. We do the Maryland Lottery Crab Cake Tour. We are extending it, and we're going to let ourselves play into 2022. I've got Nacho Mamas. I know we're going there. I'm in deep negotiations with other locations, and I have a promotion that I'm working on the side that John Martin doesn't even know about it. He's the director of the Maryland Lottery. We're letting ourselves play. Last week, you came out to Costas. I didn't even have a crab cake. And the worst thing, like I sat there for 4 hours. I had pit beef. I had French fries. It got kind of cold during the first segment. They felt bad. And then I got crab stuffed mushrooms, which are my thing. I brought home jambalaya because I had never ordered it, and I ate that for 3 days because they gave me too much. That's how they do over there at Costas. And I swear to you, like on Monday after the Ravens game, I'm like craving a crab cake. And I'm thinking, I know where I could get one. So you can ship them from Costas all over the world. My friends at Fadley's are shipping like crazy. It's like the Oompa Loompas in the Willy Wonka factory shipping crab cakes. And you and I sat there, and I didn't have a crab cake. How is that possible that I had you in the crab cake tour and I didn't have a crab cake with you?
Shame on you, because Pete was kind enough. I took crab cakes home, and he gave me explicit instructions: 400 degrees, 20 minutes, broiler, 3 minutes, and these numbers are going in my head, and they were incredible.
Do you follow all the rules? I'm just asking as a guy that's got scratch-offs here. It says game rules. I'm just saying they give you the instructions, and if you don't listen, you screw up the crab cake. That's true.
No, they were wonderful. So, and I would encourage anyone who's within the sound of our voices right now who is craving a crab cake, get to Costas Inn.
Well, you can also click and order them. Even in Ohio, they'll deliver them. And I always shout out our friends at Fadley's, our two great cornerstone crab cake places. They're shipping like crazy this week. You're working like crazy this week too. So let's start with this, because we're always talking sports gaming and I don't even want to get into referees making calls and like all the crazy things that I could talk about as a sports talk shows, or even the coach going for two, which some Browns fans may have appreciated, or Steelers fans, or Bengals fans. But opening new places, and I've had friends now that have experienced. They've gone to the first three places. I have friends like Chris up at Greenmount Station who's been waiting and timelining all of this out. And I know we talked about this every week. This is going to be news that you're going to be making, the lottery's going to be making, sports wagering, places people can go and get involved even before the Super Bowl gets around. Hey, man, 3-4 weeks ago, you were worried about getting it open by Super Bowl. Now we're like, oh, it's Christmas and we already know what we're doing. How about that, huh?
The train has left the station, so if you're not on board, you better hurry up and run and catch it. We are very fortunate to at this stage have now 4 and a 5th casino will be up before the end of the month. So we've got the first 3, Maryland Live, Horseshoe in Baltimore, and MGM National Harbor. We're joined by Ocean Downs Casino on the Eastern Shore last week. This week it'll be joined by Hollywood and Perryville. So we'll have all 5 of those up and running actually before Christmas. So plenty of action for sports fans on that front. And then after the new year, we have now 3 off-track betting locations that have been vetted and awarded licenses. And we still have to now issue the license, which means we do that controlled demonstration, that dress rehearsal that the others have already gone through. And that would be Long Shots in Frederick. It would also be Riverboat on the Potomac, which is actually in Colonial Beach, Virginia, but is on the waters on the banks of the Potomac, which is Maryland state line at that point. And then most recently, our buddy Chris out at Greenmount Station in Hampton is now in the game. He still has to get a dance partner, still has to work with somebody on the sportsbook operating side. But I'm optimistic that those 3 OTB locations will maybe move at a little slower pace because they're not as familiar, Nestor, with the gaming nuances.
Well, they're not big giant casinos out in Vegas. So we all know that, right? Literally.
Right. So, but we're optimistic that if, with a little push in the right direction, that possibly one of those 3, maybe more than one, will be up and running before the Super Bowl. So that's the next hurdle to get to. And then it will kind of quiet down a little bit because we have to sit down with our friends at the SWARC, the Sports Wagering Application Review Commission, and put together the regulations for the all-important mobile licenses, as well as the remaining retailer brick and mortar locations. And that regulatory process is going to take several months, which is why I keep telling anyone who cares to ask that mobile wagering is still several months, probably football season of 2022 before we can see that.
John Martin is here. He is the director of the Maryland Lottery and Gaming. We're letting ourselves play. Yeah, I have these scratch offs, and I'm going to be giving them away. And I just want to pick up where we left off last week because you sat down and Rob Santoni, and we're promoting Wise. And by the way, I'm wearing my Chick-fil-A, and we'll get to, Chicken Palooza and our Royal Farm shirt. We're going to get to winners and money and all of that. But free coffee at Rofo on Christmas Day. If you got the app, I want to make sure. Luke is out at training camp during the week here this week. He's really looking forward to free coffee on Christmas Day because we're getting ready for the Bengals. So if you have the app, it's free coffee. When I left you, we gave tickets away to winners or to people. They might have been winners. You left, and like literally the minute you left, the man at the next table got up, and he had that moment that you've seen a million times. He's like, I think I won $50. It says here I won $50. I think I won $50. And he was like 30 seconds before, I'm like, hey, thanks for coming out to our event. Well, I love the show. He took the ticket. $50 makes people really, really happy. When people win, I wish you would have seen the look on his face, but I know you've seen it a million times. But it was kind of neat for me. It was the first time I've given one away where someone really won a lot of money. Maybe at the barn a long time ago we had a $100 win or something. It was 25 years ago. This was joyful for me. I felt like Santa Claus, John. It was cool.
Absolutely. No, that's the fun part of it. The guy just got a free dinner, right? He sat there with his wife, was enjoying a nice night out. You and I were making it probably tough for him, but he was still enjoying a nice night out, and lo and behold, bam, $50. So that kind of stuff happens all the time, and people every day win extraordinary amounts of money. I love the idea because you talked about Royal Farms, which is a great partner of ours on the lottery side. We still have some lucky winner out there who several weeks ago in Royal Farms at Jessup won $2 million on a Powerball ticket. Now they have yet to come forward, which is, the real fresh, real fast. This is real slow, and that's a good thing. You want to take your time. When you win that amount of money, you've got 6 months to redeem that ticket.
You're never convinced that the person knows they've won, though, right? You don't really know that, right?
Oh, you know what? When they're buying tickets for that kind of jackpot, they know, and they're probably doing the right thing at this point, making sure they've got their finances in order. There's no sense to hurry up and get it now in the end of December. Roll it into the next calendar year, do a little planning, do it right, and I'm sure they'll come forward at the appropriate time. But you're right, Nestor, for every one of those stories, there's someone who just forgot about it. And I love the story. It's on our website now of a woman who's a native Marylander who now lives in Florida, who found a $50,000 winning Powerball ticket when she was cleaning out her house. Now,
what do you mean? So she thought she had lost.
She had come to Maryland back in June, bought a ticket on Powerball, and forgot about it. And going through her belongings back in Florida last week, found the ticket. Now, lucky for her, because you have literally 182 days to claim your ticket or the prize is gone. She still had a little time on the clock, but not a lot. She literally almost let 6 months pass and she would have lost $50,000.
You tell these stories all the time. What does that pool look like of unclaimed money at the end of a year? I always hear that about unclaimed government thing. You always hear those ads, late at night on the radio, unclaimed this and that. But I'm thinking, not everybody, I could give a ticket to someone and maybe they win, maybe they don't. Now, you can sort of snapshot things now, use your phone, look things. It's a different game than, oh, by the way, I have the funniest story to show you. But go ahead. So it's different than checking the newspaper back in the day to get the lottery numbers, which I have a great story with that as my 30th anniversary. I'm going to pull it up for you. I'm glad you jogged my memory. But people really do lose and put these things away, right? There really is a pool of money that people don't claim.
There is, and every lottery does it. Some do it a little differently, but you're right. At the end of the year, basically, if you want to think of it in terms of that timeline, there is a pool of money that has been unclaimed winners. Now, that fund we use to generate promotions for other player incentives. So it doesn't come back to me. It doesn't come back to the lottery. We don't count it as profit. We return those winnings, because they're justifiable player winnings, back to players in terms of promotions. And we're winding up now in the end of the calendar year with 3 very exciting promotions. I want to make sure some of your listeners and your viewers are aware of that. We have our Ravens Second Chance Promotion Contest. The last drawing for Second Chance prizes is January 11th. And at that drawing, we'll pick 2 of the 6 finalists for the 20 years of Ravens tickets. We already have selected 4. We'll select 2 more on the 11th. And then at a date to be determined, we'll invite all 6 of these people together, and 1 lucky Ravens fan will win season tickets for the next 20 years.
That's what I tried to tell people when I was giving these away at Costas last week. And I'll be giving away at Nacho Mama's in early January when we continue the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. And I got a lot of them to give away here. And I love that when I said, am I allowed to scratch it off, you looked at me with the appropriate, like, no, you're not allowed to. See, I haven't played. I'm holding on to these to give them away. I will be doing that next year, and you can win in Second Chance. I have to tell you this, because when I met you years ago, I said to you that I was the guy at the newspaper who was responsible for putting the lotto and lottery, the 3-digit, I'm talking in the 1980s. It was at the top of the scoreboard in the Evening Sun, had my name on it. And I've told you I screwed this up a couple of times, right? Like, I got called into the publisher. Like, I was 19 years old, frightened, had a 4-year-old kid, had a job, was in the union. I was so afraid of screwing the lottery number because I did it a couple of times. So this week was my 30th anniversary, okay? And you know the work of Mike Resigliano. He was a guest on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour a couple weeks ago, Coco's, when we had the mayor on. The longtime sports cartoonist from Buffalo, New York. He's been here. One of my dearest friends in the world. We worked together at the newspaper. And when I left the Baltimore Sun 30 years ago this month, okay, to start my sports radio voyage that no one believed would last 30 minutes, he drew a piece of art that was the thing that is your goodbye gift that you keep all these years later. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you look under the Oilers helmet, I was the world's biggest Oiler fan, okay? And there's all sorts of inside jokes and weird Barry Manilow pictures, just weird. Engelbert Humperdinck and I played tennis together, even back in the day. But these are the lottery picks on here, and it says lottery picks today, 6, 13, 17, 21, 44, and 243, which isn't a real number. And it says give or take 2 or 3. That was his cheap shot, his low blow at me for screwing up the lottery numbers, because you know he does those busy works where there's inside jokes. So his inside joke has now been outed 30 years later to the director of the Maryland Lottery and Gaming to show some sort of integrity that I might get the numbers right. And I don't need to get the numbers right anymore because you can double check it on your own on your phone, because that's how the guy in Costas knew he won $50. He wasn't sure. He was like, he scratched it. Meanwhile, Todd Crandall just goes cheap. He didn't even scratch the numbers off. He just checks the number. There's a lot of different ways that you can like even play when you play, literally, right?
Yeah, exactly. And people have different styles. Some people like to just go right to the did I win box and scan it. Other people have a meticulous thing. They scratch a number, then maybe they don't scratch the prizes yet, but they scratch the numbers. And if they've got a matching number, then they scratch the prize. There's as many different players. There are different strategies on how to do it. The end of it is hopefully you're doing it responsibly. You're having some fun while you do it, and you're enjoying the whole experience.
And by the way, you know, for a guy that screwed the numbers up so many, I'm very, very happy that I can't do that wrong. Like that I can't have somebody come up to me at Costa and say, "Did I win?" and hand it to me, and I'll be like, yeah or no. I don't want to be the director of the Maryland. I want to have an app where I hit the button and they just tell me and say cash it. And he did too. He went right over to the cage.
I'm sure.
Where they have the whiskey line, as you're familiar with, on the right side. Yep. And then he came back with a $50 bill. He's like, I'm gonna tip my girl Jen real good today. And I'm like, thank you very much. And listen, I didn't like predetermine that he got a winning ticket as opposed to a losing ticket, because he did say to me that he really enjoyed my show before I handed him the ticket. I just wanted. Nice. He said, I really enjoy your show, and then 5 minutes later he's winning, and I'm thinking, I like
He,
being a lottery spokesperson. Is what I'm thinking. John Martin's here. He's director of the Maryland Lottery and Gaming. We're letting ourselves play here. I would say this for the holidays, and I know you want to tell everybody about scratch offs because they really do make cool gifts. Now that I have them, I obviously haven't stuffed them in everybody's stocking. You have to come out to Nacho Mamas to get these in a couple weeks, but they do make great gifts, and they're kind of a neat office thing. I almost got invited to a solstice party the other night. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't Hanukkah,
nice.
Kwanzaa, nothing holiday. It was a solstice party. And I'm thinking, my son said, you got to bring gifts. And I'm like, lottery tickets make great gifts for everyone. But
They
as long
do.
as they're 18, right?
Yes, they do. And solstice parties are a big thing. They're not just, a flash in the pan.
I
Solstice
didn't
parties.
know this.
Oh
Really?
yeah, actually, you know what? And I have a renewed sense of enthusiasm, a bounce in my step, because now, a day after the solstice, each day is getting 1 minute longer in the morning and 1 minute longer at night.
So the sun sets at 4:23 now, or I
Hey,
mean, I feel like I'm living
don't,
in Sweden when the sun's going down right
don't cloud the issue with facts. The days are getting longer.
now. And it's
Wait,
Christmas, and we're winning money and giving money away. For other things that are happening as you enter the new year, you got more games coming down the line too, right? I mean, you had holiday games, all sorts of things. I mean, you're just really busy this time of year, and I would think this is big planning for 2022 right now, right, and beyond.
we have an incredible product development and planning group who is always looking at least 6 to 12 months out ahead and trying to anticipate trends and buying behaviors and changing the lineup. Not at liberty to get into all the changes right now, but as we go throughout our subsequent conversations, we'll be teasing some things, but it includes obviously scratch offs. We refresh that every month with new games. We have some new draw games coming out in the lineup, some incredible promotions. And this is all ramping up in 2022 to our 50th anniversary year in 2023.
Really?
And then it's really going to
So
get crazy.
73 was the first year, huh?
Exactly. And
So
matter of
I'm
fact,
older than the lottery.
when we were at Costas, I didn't realize this is Pete's 50th anniversary year, 2021. And so I said, were you guys with us from the onset? And he said, yeah. And so he took me back, and I actually met his father, a very engaging gentleman who was regaling with stories of back in the day when they were one of the first lottery retailers. So we're going to feature them as we get closer to our anniversary. We're reaching out to any retailer who's been with us for 50 years, and Costas Inn would be one of them. So it's a
That's
great
amazing. I had never
story.
thought about that. You think of the lottery as being eternal, right? Like it was always there. And I'm sure, whatever legislation, like I've been on the radio 30 years. Right under the wire, you got sports wagering legal here. Within a week of my 30th year on the radio, I would think that when this happened in the beginning, it was something that not only just controversial or whatever, but how do I do it? How do I apply? I'm a little bar, down on North Point Boulevard, outside of Sparrows Point. They've been open 2 years at that time, right? So,
Right.
I would think it was one of those things that was one heck of a sales job back in the day to say we're going to organize all this, we're going to keep it on the up and up. There was no internet, right? There was none of that, and there was a ping pong ball coming out on TV, right? I mean, that's kind of how this worked.
Well, not even at that point. I mean, that's the beauty of it. You go back to 50 years, and you certainly can't view today's prism, look at back 50 years, because the depth and breadth of products and technology, nothing like that 50 years ago.
There were no scratch offs then, right? Scratch offs came later, right?
No,
Yeah.
and recognize really what the lottery was at that point was a government numbers game. I mean, you took the black market numbers games off of the city streets that were totally unregulated and put it under governmental jurisdiction where it could be regulated, it could be taxed. There was a structure to it. You had player protections, but it started on very humble beginnings. And I can only imagine the fighting and the infighting about do we start this or don't we? What's it going to mean? No one foretold in 1973 what we'd be looking like today.
And I think about like Elvis doing the 68 special in Vegas and, singing Viva, Viva. And that's the only place in the world you like literally get on a plane, right? I mean, that there was no lottery to play here. And well, I mean, horse racing was going on then, so that was certainly something. But I love talking the history of all of it because we certainly are up on something here that was really monumental, where you can go over and bet on or against the Ravens this week, points or against. You could bet against them last week and still win, which many did, I guess. John Martin here from the Maryland Lottery and Gaming. I hope you have a beautiful holiday. I've argued eggnog this week. I've argued pies. Even had a fruitcake conversation or two before it's all over with. What's on the menu for you this weekend here?
Well, we talked about a little bit at Costas last week. My heritage is half Italian and half Slovak. So there are, I'm kind of torn when you get to the holiday table. I'm old school. God rest my grandmother. She would handmade pierogies and stuff them with things that were, unimaginable, but delicious.
Cheeses and potatoes and cabbages. My
and
wife does that and was doing it all weekend. I mean, my wife's Polish. This is a big thing. Her and her cousins get together, the dough, the stuffing, the music, the wine, it's like something on the Home Garden Network, TV thing.
Exactly. And that was the fun part of it. And I have great memories as a child, helping and assisting that effort. So, family traditions like that, we clearly get away from that, right? I mean, hats off to Jen and her family for continuing that effort. So there'll be a little bit of that. And then, with our kids who certainly have kind of missed out on some of that tradition, it'll be the more, turkey, ham, whatever is and all the sides that accompany that. So we're looking to having a good time. And I wish you and Jen and your family the best of things for the holiday season. And I'll be here next week if you want to be. So
I'm here. Oh my God. Come on now. The Ravens got to play the Rams next week. We got the end of the year. I was here at the beginning of the year. I'm going to be here at the end of the year. I mean,
they got to play them all. Somebody's got to win this division.
They can't keep losing them all though. Or maybe they can. I guess we'll find out. Have a beautiful holiday. I got my ham in the oven from Wise, and I'm getting ready for, all the trimmings and all that. And we're going through a move in a couple of weeks. So it's been busy around here. We're going to crank up the Maryland Crab Cake Tour presented by the Maryland. Next one, I'm actually going to eat a crab cake, but I'm going over to Costas. I would highly recommend that you ship our friends from Costas, our friends from Fadley's. Do them both because they are very, very different crab cakes. They're both delicious, and they ship well. And our friends at the Maryland Lottery have been great in supporting us since we let ourselves play all month long in August, and we got some great plans for 2022 to take the crab cake tour from coast to coast. And that doesn't mean California. That means Oakland, Maryland, to Salisbury, and maybe down to Crisfield, and maybe back out to make one of those delicious Smith Island cakes. I will say this: end of year, next week, I'll have my wrap up of the best things we did during the year. Eating Smith Island cake on Smith Island was right up there. I want to tell everybody. John, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you. We'll see you next week.
All right, Nestor, take care.
John Martin from the Maryland Lottery. We're letting ourselves play. We're going to have some scratch-offs to give away when we're at Nacho Mama's to start 2022 on the Maryland Crab Cake Tour. Luke is in Owings Mills getting you ready. And don't forget, free coffee. Rofo. It's not Chicken Palooza anymore, but it's Coffee Palooza on Christmas Day, because you might need to be caffeinated for the relatives and all the activities and over the river and through the woods. It's free if you got the Rofo app. Make sure you're taking care of that. We are WNST, AM 1570, Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore. Positive.